Alright everybody, welcome back to another match preview on the channel. This one is for Sunderland versus Swansea at the Stadium of Light, 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. Before I get on with the rest of the video though, I've got a few important things I would like to be talking about. One is the Ross Stewart contract situation, if you want to call it that, and a few other very important things. Right, so I'd like to mention this one first so it's fresh in your minds and you didn't forget. On the 19th minute against Swansea, there's going to be a minute applause for Elliot Eyre, who passed away on Boxing Day. The reason I mention this first is so you didn't forget. So try and remember, everybody. Also, an update on Stephen, Big Steve. It's looking a little bit better now. Hopefully he's getting out of hospital either tomorrow or maybe today if he's lucky. Hopefully he can get out and he can just rest up for a good, I'd say another week before you see him on this channel. But hopefully sooner rather than later. Right, so the Ross Stewart contract situation. Keith Dowie's decided to be a nosy so-and-so yet again and tweet something else what Sunderland supporters love to see. He said that Ross Stewart isn't happy with the contract that's been offered and that he may be sold in January by Sunderland. Now, let's speak hypothetically. Where he's got his information, God knows. But maybe one of Stewart's teams leaked it to put pressure on the board at Sunderland from the supporters. I highly doubt. But in any way, let's speak hypothetically that it is true what Keith Dowie said. And if that's the case, I think it's an absolute terrible mistake by Sunderland Football Club if they are not going to offer Ross Stewart what he's worth. Never mind the structure, because sometimes the structure does need to be, I wouldn't say it was so much broke, because I think Ross Stewart is worth that. You've got to look at what Ahmad's on. He's on a living fortune. And also Jacques Clark's being the highest paid player at Sunderland on 15 grand. Apparently he's been offered 10 grand and he's not happy with it at all. Which, to be honest, if they offered him that is pittance, and it's a bit of a disgrace really considering where we are in the league and how vital Ross Stewart is to the Sunderland team. I didn't need to sit here and explain to you how vital he is. You all know how important he is to the Sunderland team. What he offers is just much more than just being a striker. So for me, if they're gonna like, you know, dilly-dally, dawdle, as dilly-dally Stevens word, dawdle on this contract, it's stupid. The lad said he's happy. What's the point in prolonging this any longer? Just give him, even meeting him halfway. I'm just speaking hypothetically. He's still currently a Sunderland player and he's under contract for 18 months. So for me, he's not gone anywhere for 18 months. And anyway, that's if the club wanted to keep hold of him. If they wanted to sell him in January, do you really see anybody paying £10 million for a player who's just come back from an injury? Well, in the case of Ross Stewart, he scored in every game since he's came back from being injured, and he's played in every game. If it means coming off the bench or starting. Before then, he was injured for 15 games, I think, maybe 14 or 15, not 100% sure. But he was on a roll scoring before that. I think he got 5. So for me, like, we've got to get this wrapped up sooner rather than later. Didn't start upsetting the striker by offering stupid contract offers, which I highly doubt they haven't anyway. I just think it's Keith Dowie stirring shit up personally. Hopefully, it's the latter. Swansea. Honestly, when they're looking at the league, I thought they'd be higher up the table than they actually are. They're currently in 15th. They've got 35 points, which granted it's only 3 points behind us, and we're only 3 points away from being 4th. Like, games gone our way, obviously. So, you know how tight this league is. It doesn't really matter. When Stephen said previously that I'm not going to be looking at the league table come Christmas. Well, I think now you're going to have to prolong that a little bit longer because of how tight the league is. A win says you can jump up, a loss can say you drop down. In their last game, they drew against Bristol City 1-1 in the FA Cup. So in the Championship, Swansea, the better of the two Welsh teams, get a bit stick for that. But nonetheless, they've only picked up 4 points out of a possible 15. And the 5 games before that, again, they only picked up 4 points out of a possible 15. So that's 8 and 30 in the league, which isn't the best. In the last game in the league, they got beat off Burnley, which, you know, 2-1's not that bad considering where Burnley are. They're absolutely flying. But the game before that, they absolutely smashed the living daylights out of Watford. 4-0 at home. Comfortable performance. And Watford's in fourth, so that's a really good performance in my opinion. In anyone's opinion, basically. And Swansea, you know, they are a bit hit and miss because the game before that they got beat away 2-1 at Reading. So Swansea's form is a little bit hit and miss. The game before that they drew 3-3 with Coventry, and the game before that they lost 1-0 at home to Norwich. So looking at it, 35 points, it's a direct return because of how tight the league is. And they're down in 15th. I think it's a false position in my opinion. I think they'll be pushing 7th or 8th come the back end of the season. Right, there's a few players what I think Sunderland should keep an eye out on. One being the leading top goal scorer, and that's Joel Piroe. He's got 8 goals for them up to now, but last season he scored an impressive 22 goals last season in the Championship, so we've got to really keep an eye on him. There's a few other players what I'm going to mention as well, and that's Oliver Nitcham, the midfielder. He has also got 5 goals, which is already, at this point in the season, more than what he got last season. Another Oliver is Oliver Cooper. He is signed from Newport and he scored 4 goals this season, which isn't that bad from the midfield up to now. These next two, right, one's a defender, he's a left back, he's called Ryan Manning. The reason I'm mentioning him is because he's got 3 assists and 3 goals from left back, which tells me he likes to get forward a lot, so we're going to have to keep an eye on him. And also, the next one is Matt Grimes. The reason I'm mentioning Matt Grimes is because he scored only 1 goal. It's not that, he got 6 assists up to now this season, which is outstanding, so we're going to have to keep an eye on him because he's making things happen, he's creating goals, so for me, we'll have to keep an eye on him. Right, Sunderland's chances against Swansea, in my opinion, are much better than they were when we played them down at their place, and we got beat 2-1. We got beat with no striker in the team. We were playing with no striker at that point. In the second half, we were pushing to get an equaliser, and we played really well that game. So for me, I think we've got a really good chance with Ross Joe back in the team, and it's at the stadium like this time. I'd like to talk about Try Hume. I think with Gooch being injured, which I've been a really massive fan of Gooch this season, I really have. He's stepped up to the plate and he's done really well for us. But Trey Hume has done outstanding since he's come in, and it would be very unfair if Tony Mowbray did drop him against Hull when we got the equaliser. It was his header forward towards Stewart, so he got an assist that game for me. I cannot drop him in my 11. I honestly cannot. He has a couple of bad games, and then fair enough, Gooch can come straight back in because I think Gooch is really good and all. Well, he has been this season. So for me, Trey Hume has been outstanding. Long may it continue. There's a few changes made for the game against Shrewsbury. Granted, the first 20 minutes, it wasn't the best. But like I said previously, Shrewsbury had a game plan. They just wanted to sit in and catch us on the counter. And for a long periods of time, it was working. Quite long periods of time it took up until the 92nd minute and then the 94th for us to win it. Right, so in the defence, Mowbray has got a massive headache. Look, when Bart's come back, we know how massive Bart's been this season. He has been my player of the season up until his injury. So he's got to be knocking on Mowbray's door. And anyway, I think Mowbray will have him in his mind straight away. But do you start him straight away where he's obviously just coming back from an injury? Mowbray doesn't like to do that. Then you've got to look at Ballard. We haven't lost a game when Ballard's been in the starting 11. So he's nailed on. Then Trey Hume, I wouldn't really drop Trey Hume. And honestly, personally, Gooch has just come back. You know, I wouldn't want to risk Gooch straight away being injured previously. And Hume he's sort of kneeling down this right back spot for me. And then on the left side, you know, it's going to be so hard to predict. The only one I can say where it's going to be guaranteed kneel on, or one or two, there's a select few, but it's going to be like Patterson. There's going to be like Ahmad, Stewart, and then it's like, you know, Evans has been rested quite a lot. Barr, Mitchell's been getting plenty of minutes, which I've been really impressed with Mitchell. You didn't say like anything flamboyant or extravagant. He just does everything simple and everything right, and I like Mitchell, I really do. He got forward a lot against Shrewsbury and against was it Hull? Yes, against Hull he should have had a penalty. He should have won a penalty, but the ref was absolutely diabolical. But anyway, moving on, because we've had quite a few bad refereeing decisions recently. But listen, I'm not going to try and guess the lineup. Every time me and Stephen do, we get it wrong every time. But the score predictions, right? Shrewsbury, I didn't dig a preview for that one. We're just on a live stream. So for me, I didn't see it. I guess it's correct score. We'll put you in the hat because it was just for the FA Cup. I didn't really do that one. It's just for the league. It always has been for the giveaways. Where now we are playing Swansea. And this is the last time, and I'll be giving away the England top. So if you got it correct the last time, your names are in the hat. And if you get it correct the name on the Swansea game, your name goes in twice. So comment below your score prediction, and we'll mention you in the next match preview. Apologies, I haven't mentioned anybody of the last game. I just didn't. With everything what's been going on, I just haven't had time. But if you get the correct score, you will be mentioned in the next match preview. And also, we'll be giving the shirt away. I'm not sure if it's a home game or an away game, the next one. But if it's an away game, we'll be doing it on stream. If not, we'll just be doing it on a video. Right, that's about it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you on Saturday.